Recently, overseas social platforms have exposed satellite photos of a shipyard in northern China at the end of 2024, and relevant professionals analyzed the photos and found that there are 3,055-ton destroyers under construction and outfitting, filling the shipyard's platforms to overflowing. After further analysis, these experts believe that this is likely to be the second batch of 4055 under construction, considering the outside world that the second batch of 055 orders only 6. The appearance of the 13th 055 means that the entire second batch of 055 construction program has entered the final stage. Undoubtedly, this again in a way reflects the China speed that constantly causes the West to marvel. After all, as the world's strongest comprehensive combat capability destroyer, since the 055 first ship Nanchang ship in 2017, the official announcement of the launch, the world a little naval heritage countries have launched their own 10,000 tons of destroyer program. Concepts such as the UK's Type 83 destroyer and the US DDG-X destroyer can all be said to have been born under the stimulus of the 055, and unusually, as the fastest progressing foreign 10,000-ton destroyer program at the moment, the US has taken a very pragmatic approach to the DDG-X. In a report in 2021, the US military even publicly stated that the DDG-X will not engage in technological adventurism like the Jumbo Walter, but will be a large number of applications of mature technology, with a view to forming combat power as soon as possible. Even so, the Pentagon to the DDG-X set the start of construction time is still around 2028, and 17 years of Nanchang ship launch there is a time difference of more than 10 years. And wait until 2023. Due to the decline of the domestic shipbuilding industry, the Navy's design positioning of the DDG-X, lack of clear concepts and other issues, this US version of the 055 of the start of construction has been pushed to 2032. It is important to know that the latest US Berk 3 destroyer from the keel down to start construction to the official launch, it takes nearly 3 years. The DDG-X, with its larger size and tonnage, is bound to be even more time-consuming. If you calculate according to the whole 3 years, then from 2032 construction to 2035 launch, DDG-X of the first ship will be in the launch time, and 055 first ship Nanchang 10 years gap. This is still based on the premise that the DDG-X will not further delay the construction work. As things stand now, even the Pentagon itself doesn't know if 2032 is the red line for the DDG-X, so there's no guarantee that the timeline will be subject to another major change in the future. On the other hand, China's side, as of 2023, the first batch of 0.55 million tons of destroyers have all been commissioned and formed combat capability, and at the end of the same year, the second batch of 055 first ship 109 ships have also been exposed to the water. This means that around 2021, the second batch of 055 has begun construction, almost perfect convergence in the first batch of construction work behind. It is important to know that the first batch of 055 is the more to the back shipyards in the ship outfitting on the time spent on the shorter, such as 104 Wuxi ship, in just 2 years to complete the outfitting operations. This was during the epidemic and the efficiency of the shipyard was significantly affected. It is therefore reasonable to believe that the average outfitting time for the second batch of 055s could be maintained, or even improved. In other words, the 109 ship launched at the end of 2023 will be commissioned at the end of this year, and the 110 ship launched in March 2024 will only have to wait until the coming spring. And the 13th ship, whose hull outline can already be seen on satellite photos, is also expected to be in service by the end of 2028. What's more, the second batch of 055s is also under construction in the north and south at the same time, with no difference of a few months between the two sides. As mentioned earlier, the outside world cannot determine whether one of the 055 under construction is the 11th or 12th ship, is because there is also a 055 being assembled in the south. This means that when the 13th 055 debuts in the north, the 14th will most likely also be under construction in the south. So by 2028, the Chinese Navy will have a full 16 10,000 tons of destroyers, while the US Navy can only use 3 difficult-to-do the Jumbo-class destroyers to counteract this pressure. At this point, someone may want to ask, the United States does not have Berk 3, although the tonnage is not as good as 055, but at least the US Navy aimed at 055 to create a rush to build the ship. The overall combat performance, how it is also stronger than the Jumbo Walter. That's right. Berk 3 not only has the ship in service, the construction of subsequent ships is also steadily advancing, but the problem is that the 055 is only called a destroyer by the Chinese themselves. The Americans or other Western countries all believe that the 055 should be categorized in the cruiser class. As a result of the depth of the previous generation of Berk II, improved version of the Berk III comprehensive performance in the field of destroyers, although very bright, but also really integrated a lot of cruiser-level hardware and software equipment, can really face the serious cruiser class 055. The US Navy wants to make up the gap, can only hope that the number of advantages. This leads to another cliché, that is, if the US shipbuilding industry has the ability to make the construction cycle of nearly 4 years of Berk III on the 055 to form a quantitative advantage, then the DDG-X will not be difficult to produce to 2032, and no one can guarantee now that there won't be a third batch of 055s, or that the third batch won't again achieve breakthroughs in performance metrics. If so, then the 055 as the opponent of the Berk III can be regarded as services backward. In addition, many Western military experts are also worried about China in recent years to launch their own Berk III. Analysis suggests that the latest version of the 052D, known popularly as the 052DM destroyer, has already tapped the upgrade potential of this hull configuration to the limit, but if the destroyer are replaced with 055 such as tons of large drive, the cost is not scratch. In this regard, there are many views believe that China is really promoting the new 8,000-9,000 tons destroyer project, and strive for the new ship is better than the 052D at the same time, but also than the 055 to save money. Otherwise, China in recent years, how to engage in 054B, and stealth ship. The outside world will be the type of destroyer tentatively called 057, and if 057 really exists, and in the next 5 years, then the Berk III's main rivals will be directly from the 055 into 057.